Welcome to Camp Constitution Radio, and Happy New Year. I'm your host, Hal Shurtleff. This show is heard on WBCQ The Planet every Monday night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And also IPMNation.com, which is an online 24-hour news service. That comes on every Saturday afternoon at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Unfortunately, we did not meet their top 10 viewed shows or listened shows, but we're working on it. You can also see many of the shows archived on our YouTube channel, Camp Constitution YouTube channel. And I'm going to have my good friend Dr. Kishore call in a few minutes. But I want to just review 2016. And I've written, I'm going to be posting an article on our blog and also on our MailChimp pretty soon to our supporters and those who participate in our camp program, those who have expressed an interest. So, Camp Constitution 2016 review. We had our busiest year since its founding, our founding in 2009. Actually, we were founded, I think it was in actually 2008 where the idea got together, in December of 2008. And it was Charlie Everett, Mr. Charlie Everett from North Carolina, at that time living in Orange, New Hampshire, and Mrs. Ruth Harper from Grand Rapids, Michigan, and I, the three of us got involved, and this started Camp Constitution, but we didn't really get off the ground until January of 2009, where we started making plans to host the first family camp, which we did at the Toanipi Christian Retreat Center, and we've been meeting there ever since. And we had a relatively small camp that year. Of course, we've been adding to our mission. Anyway, we enjoyed the largest attendance in our camp's history. This would be last year's Camp 2016, with about 120 people participating. Some of these folks stayed for the whole week. Some of them spent a few days, and maybe some just showed up for the day. But we had about over 90 people that spent the whole week and a number of new families. Our featured instructors included Mrs. Chris Ann Hall and John McManus, who was an author of numerous books. Actually, both of them are authors of numerous books. We did, I think, an excellent job in videotaping the numerous classes and activities, field trip to Concord and Lexington, and Concord, Massachusetts. Mr. Mert Melfa and one of our young campers, Mike Smith, were really on the job doing that, and most of the classes were uploaded, and you can go to our Camp Constitution YouTube channel and find the classes and some of the activities that we did, some of the field trips and the fun things. Of course, I like to think learning is fun too, if it's presented in the way that it is, and we'd like to think that we do that. Mr. Mark Affleck, did an incredible job as the camp newspaper editor and made copies available on the camp's website. If you go to the Camp Constitution website, you'll see the archive and drop down, and you'll see the daily camp newspaper. A lot of interesting articles. And Mark plans to start a monthly newsletter during the year that will be sent via email to the campers and staff and participants and anyone else who's interested. We'll also be posting it on our website. We did a lot of outreach events, more so than ever before. That included 2 homeschool shows, the Homeschools of Maine's annual convention, which is held in mid-March, right around the first day of spring, and the Mass Hope Homeschool Convention, which is the largest homeschool convention in New England. And not only do we have a table there, but we did a workshop on the dangers of an Article 5 convention. What makes this interesting is that the Convention of Statespeople have in their ranks Mr. Mike Farris. He's one of their top leaders, and he's also the founder of the Homeschool Legal Defense Association, and they're very prominently featured at homeschool shows. And last year, actually 2 years ago, Farris gave a presentation at this convention on why we should have an Article 5. So actually, it was a little controversial. A few of the people that hosted the show were a little upset, and I said, hey, we're just presenting the other side, and they were very good about it. We were able to do that. And when we do these homeschool shows, our job isn't just to get people to camp, which is one of the things. And as a result of the homeschool shows, we got 3 or 4 new families to our camp. and a few other new campers that came unaccompanied. But our job is also to outreach to the people that come by our table, the people that we meet, other vendors, for example, and those that come by. And the homeschool community is a pretty well-informed community, but there's still a need to have an understanding of the Constitution and some of the issues that affect homeschoolers and affect us as a country. And we have information about Common Core and Agenda 21 and many other things. We also like to teach them some important principles of the Constitution. So So our job isn't just to get campers to camp, but it's also to help create a more informed electorate by reaching out to people. And we passed out numerous DVDs and videos, DVDs and reprints of articles and copies of the Constitution. We have a 10-question quiz, which we like to offer people to come by a table, take the quiz, get a free copy of the Constitution, and it challenges them, and they get interested. And then we ask them questions like, for example, who's your elected officials? Can you name them? And it's always nice to see the homeschool schools do a pretty good job. There's a few exceptions, unlike the general public. That there's a YouTube fellow, Mark Dice. He does these man-on-the-street interviews, and he'll ask simple questions, and most people have no clue. It's really sad. That's not the case at our homeschool show. So anyway, what outreach things have we done? We have, of course, the Camp Constitution Radio. This is our second. This will be going on our third year. We've done over almost 100 shows. It's a weekly show, and we've had some really incredible guests over the last year, including Lord Christopher Monckton. Now, Lord Christopher is a British lord, and I got a chance to meet him a few years back at a conference in New York City, and he was a guest. His topic was the Brexit, Britain leaving the European Union. He's also one of the top climate realists, and we actually tried to get him to camp one year, but it just didn't work out. Who knows? Maybe one of these days he will. One of these years. Also, we had Professor Willie Soon, who's not only a very close friend of Lord Christopher Monckton, but lives not too far from me, and he just told me a few days ago that he will be at camp this year, 2017's Camp Constitution, and will be invited his family. Also, we had as guest Ed Martin, who was the director of Eagle Forum, and a really incredible group. He was he took over from the late Phyllis Schlafly. Larry Pratt of Gun Owners of America, who will be a guest at Camp Constitution, a guest instructor. Tom DeWeese of the American Policy Center, who was an instructor in 2015. He is also a member of our Speakers Bureau. And Joaquin Fernandez, now I can pronounce that first name. It's Joaquin. That's how it's spelled, but it's pronounced Joaquin. He is the co-director of the documentary Indoctrination, and we appeared as a guest on a number of radio shows and some new ones, including the Michelle McPhee Show in Boston, and we guest hosted the Girard at Large Show. Now, the Girard at Large Show is a morning show in Monday through Friday in Manchester, New Hampshire. We appeared as guest hosts last week. This would be the 27th of December for 3 hours. And I had Reverend Kraft on the line. Dr. Kishore was with me in studio. And Tom Moore, one of our camp instructors and our guitarist at Campfire, he helped co-host the program. So it was a great time. And the show was put on by Rich Girard, whose three of his children come to camp. And I think he's got two more younger ones that will be coming in the next several years. Let's see. We did a lot of outreach events like the float of the Dedham, Massachusetts Flag Day Parade. This was our second year, and we distributed over 500 copies of the U.S. Constitution and our Camp Constitution brochure. And during the parade route, it's about a 5-mile route. We asked questions to the people that we give the constitutions to, the recipients of our generosity. Can you name one of the first 10 amendments referred to? And last year, I should say, or 2015, only about 10% of the people we asked knew. But last year, I'll get used to that eventually. Last year, 2016, I would say it was closer to 80% that knew that the first 10 amendments of the Constitution were referred to as the Bill of Rights. So, and when people say that, well, your camp is not needed, what you do is not important, just when we show just how little people know about the Constitution, but are willing to learn, that means our mission is very important, vitally important. And I like to say that the enemies of our nation love the idea that the average American is constitutionally illiterate. They want it that way. Many politicians in both major parties like it that way, because because when politicians do the wrong thing, they violate the Constitution. Well, how would you know if you don't understand the Constitution? So that's why what we do is so important. We also had a table. This is our fourth year in a row, and Dan McGonigal, one of our instructors, and my youngest daughter, Emily Shurtleff, helped man the table there on July 4th, right on Boston Common. And at this table, we take a little different twist. We're there to honor the signers of the Declaration of Independence. That's what you're celebrating July 4th. You're not celebrating the day. You're celebrating the event that happened on that day. And we ask people, can you name how many signers of the Declaration can you name? And it's interesting. It seems that it was a little better last year than the previous years. More people at least could name a couple. And I know one thing, like someone teaches me something, I appreciate that. I don't care what your political background is. If you help me learn something, I'm going to have a certain respect for you. And I like to think that's the respect we get back from people. And we get people from all walks of life when you on a Boston Common on any given day, but especially in the summer, you get people from tourists from all over the world, all over the United States. It's a delightful, it really is a lot of fun to reach out to people. And we were there for about 4 or 5 hours, not as long as we'd like to, and it's another chance to reach out to more people and get more people involved in what we do. Now, our camp was in July, where next year's camp will also be in July, but we were busy in August. We did we were up in northern Maine doing presentations on why we should get out of the UN. And in September, it was probably one of the busiest Septembers we had, because we did, on September 17th, we actually had 2 events we were doing simultaneously. One was an information table at the first annual Reclaim America rally in Boxborough, Massachusetts, where we really networked some great people, met some good friends. And we also had a table at the New Hampshire, or I should say the National Heritage Center for Constitutional Studies, their annual celebration of the Constitution. And I was one of the speakers. I was not the keynote speaker, but I was one of the speakers there. And I was honored to be invited as a board of directors, which I accepted. And, it just gives us more credibility, and we're going to be working closer to that great organization. I'll have the head of the group on there, Diane Gilbert, on pretty soon. Let's see, what else did we do? I want to thank Rich Saran, who was one of the people that helped out, and Bob and Nancy Seeley, and Dr. Kishore, who may be on the line here in a few minutes. He hasn't called in yet. And also in September, Reverend Kraft and I went to an event in Hyde Park, New York, the Hyde Park Baptist Church, where the Ferretti family are a family of campers that come for the last 4 or 5 years, whom we actually met at a homeschool show in Mass Hope several years ago. And they hosted this event. There's about 40 to 45 homeschool age young people, plus their parents, and we gave 5 presentations. Not only do we give the presentations, but they showed a video from our YouTube channel, Mrs. Chris Ann Hall. They actually invited her, but she wasn't available. And also in September, Pastor Scott Lively of Redemption Gate Ministries invited Reverend Kraft, Dr. Kishore, and yours truly to participate in the first annual New England Biblical Values Summit, where we had an information table and we were panelists. This was an interesting event. They had 15 panelists. You think 15 alpha males, and maybe I think it was one or 2 ladies, females. Everybody wants to say something. How do you manage this? And it was only a 2-hour event. Well, Pastor Scott had these little color codes. He all gave us 5 different strips of paper with different colors on it: red, green, purple, orange, whatever. And he would ask one of the questions. It was, I think, 7 or 8 questions that we were there to discuss. And he said, well, the red person with the red, it goes first. The person with the yellow goes second if you want to comment. And it would flow very well. I was very impressed. And there were some really interesting people from New England there that were the panelists. And a few people we knew, some we didn't. But by the end of the show, we got to know them all and became, more networking and more people will know about our program and what we do. We created a speakers bureau. I would say we started in October. And in December and November, we had Dr. Duke Pesta, who is now a member of the tour, in 4 different venues, Massachusetts, and actually had him in Ringe, New Hampshire, our camp, on the last day of the tour. Did a few radio shows on top of that. We had Dr. Kishore and Reverend Stevie Kraft in Maine for 4 events, and we didn't get really big turnouts in any sense, but we made some really good connections. We were able to host, we were a guest on a radio station in Caribou, Maine. And this station, the owner of the station interviewed Dr. Kishore and Reverend Kraft, half-hour interview. We videotaped it. It's up on our YouTube channel. And when the show was over, he said, whatever I can do for you, just let me know. And there was a featured front page story in the Fort Fairfield Journal. Not only that, but the publisher and owner of the paper showed up at the last day of the present. It was a Saturday in November, the week before Thanksgiving, and he videotaped it. He brought out some really nice equipment, and that presentation not only on his website, the Fort Fairfield Journal, but we posted it on the Camp Constitution YouTube channel. Let's see. I gave a presentation on the dangers of an Article 5 convention in Dedham in November. So we're getting lots of opportunities to reach out here. We sponsored a press conference with Reverend Kraft in Maine, and this was to happen. It was to discuss the drug issue and the race issue. What happened was the Governor LePage of Maine, he has been taking a pretty good stance against the methadone and Suboxone as opposed to treatments. He's against using narcotic or addictive medications to treat an addiction. And he's been catching a lot of flack from the left-wing people in Maine. They never liked him anyway. He's on his second term. He did something that he shouldn't have done. He made a phone call. One of these very liberal state reps called him a racist, and he left a message on his phone, which I can't repeat in a family radio show, but they were quite vulgar. He did apologize, but Reverend Kraft got wind of this. It made national news, and he wrote a very brief letter saying basically, hey, well, you're right. You're right about the issue, and I got your back, so to speak. Well, when I saw that letter, I thought, well, I have to run an errand up to Augusta, so why don't we have a news conference? And folks, I didn't expect anybody to come out. I thought we'd just have a little, a couple of people there, a few of our friends, and would videotape and be done. Well, we did have. I had some of my friends distribute the news release, the hard copy news release, to the Maine State House press room, and a fellow from the Portland Press Herald called me the day before, and that led to, 4 or 5 stories in the daily newspapers, online editions, and of course the hard copy editions. So on the drive up, when one of our friends up in northern Maine said, "Hey, you guys made," the Bangor Daily News. I said, I think we're going to have a few people at this press conference. Well, we had 4 TV stations, and I think, almost all the dailies are owned by the same company. But we had several writers from the daily newspapers, and bingo, we just got plenty of media coverage. And Reverend Kraft did a great job. It lasted about 40, 45 minutes. Now, on our social media, our YouTube channel, isn't really where we'd like to be. If you're listening to this show, please, I encourage you to visit the YouTube channel, share the videos, and then also subscribe. We have over 1,200 subscribers. That's a real drop in the bucket. It's better than a couple of hundred, but we're going to be getting more as time goes on. We have close to 250,000 views. Now, there were some videos that I had to take down, copyrighted issues, which I didn't realize. So we would actually have had more views if I didn't do that. I think there was one video with about 15,000 views. So, close to 250,000 is still a drop in the bucket, and I just like to think that that's just the beginning. Now, some of the videos we have up there are enjoying lots of views. One of them has over 80,000 views, and Mrs. Chris Ann Hall, a few of her videos, she's becoming more well-known, and more people are looking for her videos on YouTube. So some of them are getting some good hits, but some of the things that should be going viral, we get 12 hits, 12 views, a couple hundred views here and there. We do encourage people who listen to the show to go to our YouTube channel, Camp Constitution, and just subscribe to it and share some of these videos. If you like these videos, share them. We got some very short videos on different topics, and we've got all the radio shows that we've archived. So please help spread the word. What I'm really pleased with is the Sam Blumenfeld archive, and Mark Affleck and Eric Conover, who's our webmaster, deserve a big pat in the back. As I've said on the show before, we inherited Mr. Sam Blumenfeld's library and papers, and a lot of those things we were able to post on YouTube, including many of the speeches. We got, a couple of legal-sized boxes of cassettes, and the cassettes are speeches he's done over the years from the 70s and 80s and 90s and early 2000s and what have you, and we were able to convert these, and this is Mark Affleck's Herculean efforts, convert this to audio, MP3 audio, and then we had some videos, VHS videos, and those were transferred to MP4, and they're on our website, the Sam Blumenfeld Archives. He also got the Alpha Phonics, as well as the book, as well as all 128 lessons, and we're getting people downloading this stuff all over the world. It's very gratifying. We're not generating funds as a result of this. It would be nice if we did, but we know that we're reaching out to thousands of people. We're averaging something like 140,000 views a month, and that doesn't mean 140,000 new people necessarily. I think each time somebody opens it, goes to the site, and they may look at 10 or 15 different things. Those are considered unique views. But it's still lots of people out there that are coming, and we'd like to think it's only going to increase. More people are going to be visiting as more people learn about it and then share that information. So it's a great resource, and we're very pleased to do that. We had some special projects that came our way, and one of them was through Alex Newman, whom we've had on the show before. Alex Newman is a writer for the New American, brilliant guy, and he emailed me actually while I was up in Maine and asked if we were able to videotape a presentation by Dr. Willie Soon. And the issue was Dr. Soon was invited to speak to Ed Griffin. Now, Ed Griffin is the author of The Creature from Jekyll Island. I got to get him on the show soon, perhaps in a few weeks. And Dr. Soon couldn't make it to the Phoenix event, so they wanted to do a videotape of his presentation. So we did that, and we got a nice little honorarium to do that. We also became good friends with Dr. Soon, and we've got some folks up in California and also in Ed Griffin who now know that we're here, and we're there to help, so we're very happy about that. And also, as I mentioned earlier, Dr. Kishore, a documentary about his life is being done, or not his life, I'm sorry, about his ordeal with his drug addiction methods. And the director, whom we had on the show not too long ago, Joaquin, not only are we going to be in the documentary, but we should be giving some credit because of the footage. He asked me to do some footage and some photos of the trip up to Maine, and we did that. And some of it may or may not be used, but we'll get some kind of credit in the production. And we also were invited to, when it's available, to come out to California and show it. We've got a lady out there who we had on the show not too long ago, and she said, "Hey, when it's available, we'll come out. We'll set up some venues around the state so you can present this." So some really exciting opportunities have come our way. And Camp Constitution Press. Now we have two. The press is two different things. We show up at certain events. We sort of cover the news, so to speak. And also we publish. So that's two different things. One is publishing books and reprints of things, and the other one is to actually report on an event. We reprinted this year. The only thing we reprinted this year was the Color Communism and Common Sense by Manning Johnson. and we discussed this on a show just recently with Reverend Kraft. And in fact, it was Reverend Kraft who motivated me to do that. Hey, Doc, how you doing?
I have finally got through.
Well, what I'm doing, Doc, is I'm sort of giving an overview of what we've done this year. And with cheers, I'm just about finished here, but I did mention the documentary that is being done about your ordeal. And an interesting development, as I spoke to Reverend Kraft this morning, there was a doctor, I think it was Kansas City, that was doing something similar to what you were doing. Mm-hmm. And he was saying that he was offered some money to buy him out, and the man who made the offer, I don't know who it was, what company it was, basically said, we're not interested in curing addiction, we're just interested in making money. That's something I said when I first heard about you, and I said, that's just how these people operate, you know. So, but I'm almost done with the, what I did, Doc, is I'm writing for the blog, I'm writing the 2016 in review. And boy, you were mentioned more than a few times the different things that we did together.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm almost done here. Oh, Camp Constitution Press. I mentioned the publication of Color, Communism, and Common Sense. And also, we attended the first annual Nativity at the State House, and we videotaped it. This is in Massachusetts, and it's up on our YouTube channel. And we'll be doing other events like this. And what's going to happen in 2017? Well, we already have Robert Brown, who's an expert on the Constitution. He's going to be speaking in New Hampshire and Maine. We're going to be also speaking to legislators on the dangers of an Article 5 convention. We're doing a table at a gun show in Nashua, New Hampshire in early February. We've got some book projects on the front burner. And when people say, hey, what can I do to help, you see? How can I so here's what we're suggesting. First off, attend our family camp, which is going to be from this year, July 2nd to the 9th. Host a Camp Constitution speaker in your town or your local patriotic or civic group, right? Share our YouTube videos. You go to our channel, share them on your social media, your LinkedIn or your Facebook page, or email them. Promote our website. Start a Constitution Club in your home or local library. We have a meeting at my home once a month. We don't call it a Constitution Club. It's a friend, but it's sort of like a Constitution Club. But we want the young people who to be involved in this, so that's why I like to refer to it as a club. Make a monthly donation to our PayPal account. We're trying to hire me full-time, so we're about, I've been saying about 25 to 30% of the way there. We're getting some support. We just need some more, and we'll make it happen, and we can get more of you on the road. And also, finally, pray that God will continue to bless our camp and our nation. Without God's opening up doors for us, we just need more doors to be open, more opportunities and more activities. So we only have a minute left, Doc. You called in a little bit late on the show.
I think, what you have done for the addiction information is awesome, amazing. And I think Camp Constitution has a lot to be thanked for. And, we're protecting our young. It's a young adult problem. And we've got to take care of them in an honorable, nice way so that they don't get to carry the disease lifelong. So you have done a human job.
Well, Doc, we're very glad that you're on the team, so to speak. And I think God puts people in our paths for good. In this case, how I met you and how you're helping us, and we're trying to help you, and that's what it's about. So I'm very proud proud and honored that you're part of our Camp Constitution team at this point. Well, folks, looks like our time is up. And I want to thank you, Doc, for calling for the short time that you do. I want to wish all our listeners a very happy and blessed and prosperous New Year. And thanks to the good folks at WBCQ The Planet that make this show possible, and all of the people that support us. God bless, and until next week.
Thank you.